away from closing it down, from shutting down the hopes and dreams of Shanghai, from performing, let's say it reasonably here, the upset, because that's what we all thought coming into this series.
Yep. And look at this from Shanghai. They start on Junkertown with the defensive dive composition. This is not normal. People normally run double shield, they normally run Echo and a Widowmaker, they do not run dive. This map is far too open to play dive, or so the conventional wisdom goes. Shanghai are looking to prove everybody wrong.
Prophet is also going to be trying to play the Tracer. He's going back over to his comfort role here. See if he can set up any plays. He's hunting for Fleder. Fleder, of course, keeping his cooldown. He zips away, but Lip almost dead. Lip had to back off for heals around this corner. Now, Shanghai have got to try and contest this, at least before the cart moves a little bit further forward here. They've got to find an opening as well, but this turret is causing Fleder a bit of issues. He can't take these off angles like he wants to. The turret peppering him away from the back line. Now we see the focusing beam being used. Fit's going to get burned down, broken. And now they've just got to clean up the last remaining players here. Big Bionade onto a couple of the members here of Soul. And that focusing beam is so potent.
It really is. It shreds the tanks for the Soul Dynasty, and Fitz as well, who's not normally a very diveable target, but when he's under 50% of his HP, he will melt if he goes toe-to-toe with Fleta. Normally, you would have Soul Dynasty run some kind of long-range hit scan. The Ashe, the Widowmaker, to be able to put pressure on these dive tanks for them to overextend. But instead, they're playing short range with Prophet and Fitz. So Fearless can just play close. They can play close range with everybody. They can play close range dive. This is mental.
Yeah, dive attempt is there, and I say attempt, it's a success in my books. They get the opening pickoffs. Fleder demolishing the sticky bombs, the focusing beam. It's so much damage in those close quarters. What can you realistically expect? And they want to go for Prophet as well, trying to burn him down. Get their wee little legs out of there as they run way back.
They need to run Fitz on an Ashe or something like that, because if they don't play with somebody far back, then Fearless is never going to have to overextend. He can just play the payload. You cannot allow the dive of Shanghai Dragons to just play the payload. It's far too comfortable for them.
Fleder's weak. He has to use the duplicate here, so he moves over to the ORISA for the higher HP, but he's just peppering them from behind. No one is checking him. He lands down a supercharger. This is disastrous now for Soul, despite the fact that they get the opening pickoff. Immortality Field forced out, and the supercharger forces out a couple of the cooldowns as well. Now Fearless with the Primal Rage. They're going to try and find an opening here, but Soul are now utilizing every ultimate at their disposal to win this one. Finally, they get the pick off onto Fearless, and they get a second DMAC as well. It looks like Soul are going to be justified in their expenditure. They are able to walk away with at least this 8-point capture for the time being.
Yeah, we've seen teams do the impossible throughout this series, throughout this tournament so far. But when Marvel gets the opening pick with his Gravitic Flux onto Izayaki and the Ana, the main heals, are removed from the Shanghai Dragons, that ends up being insurmountable there. Lip getting very close to his EMP though. They would love to EMP the Soul Dynasty, dive them, and reset them at the choke point here. The choke point is so powerful to be able to hold.
Keep hitting some very nice shots there onto the flank, just keeping Prophet in check, making sure he can't get away with murder. Shanghai have ults to work with. Look at that. The EMP is ready, but Lip not in a position to really take advantage of it, and this is good aggression coming out from Soul now. Lip used the EMP. 3 targets were the ones who are going to be disabled now, unable to use their abilities, but Fearless bashed up, has to leap away to safety. Prophet still causing havoc in the back line as he takes out Lee Jae Gong. And I gotta say, you know, we often think about Brigitte being a bit of a soft counter, a bit of a shutdown for Tracer, but Prophet seems to not care about what heroes on the field. He just kind of plays his own game and makes it look stylish at the same time.
He definitely does. Look at Lip, going to contest the payload, bounce away, setting up for Fearless and Void to ping-pong onto this payload and allow an opportunity for Shanghai to recontest, but with Fleder going down and that own core all over the place, there's just no way, surely, that Shanghai can get into this.
Yeah, Prophet as well. I mean, he's just flexing them at this point. The team fight's already won, but why not just unload the post bomb? Take out Izayaki. You know, add a couple of more clips for the frag reel. Who knows? It is looking like Soul Dynasty are really gaining a lot of momentum, and Shanghai are struggling to stop them here. But we've talked a lot about Shanghai Dragons and how much credit we've given them for trying to make this reverse sweep happen. I gotta give credit a little bit now to Seoul Dynasty for not crumbling at this prospect. A lot of teams, after losing this many maps in a row when they've been so close to the win, would have just crumbled at this point, and it feels like the Seoul Dynasty are battling back. They are giving us a series worthy of calling a grand finals.
Absolutely. Looking to engage now, Marvel with the Gravitic Flux into the back. Gesture still with his tank ultimate as well, but the Shanghai Dragons have pushed a nano-boosted Fearless with a Primal Rage into a tiny little corridor, and the damage is insurmountable. Shanghai Dragons come away with a very easy win. You want to run a brawl comp? No, we're running a brawl comp. Gonna punch you in the mouth repeatedly with Fearless's Primal.
I mean, that sounds quite painful, honestly. I mean, what do you think the...
I mean, it's a gorilla, isn't it? Of course it's going to be painful. They could rip you limb from limb, Brennan.
People keep making that argument, right? How many gorillas would it take for Shaquille O'Neal to go down? But, I mean, gorillas are kind of brutal, man. I feel like one gorilla could take on 4 Shaqs, you know what I mean?
Easily.
Regardless, not a conversation for the final map of the grand finals, but we're having it anyway. Seoul Dynasty get the opening pick now in this team fight onto Lip, taking him out. That's no more EMP for this fight. Cretion not going to be finding a mark, but Seoul have been given a lot of space off the back of that pickoff. All eyes on Lip to try and get some value out of this EMP. It's their win condition. He needs to get something done here. The EMP is used, connects onto a couple of targets. Marvel gets instantly deleted. Taken off the map, taken out of the fight. Great opening start for the Shanghai Dragons. That turret is, again, a bit of a nuisance here, and that has caused a bit of damage, a little bit too much now. This Fleder will fall. Wonderful pickoffs for the Seoul Dynasty. They found so many openings. Void might be able to turn this one with the bomb. He's going to stall this one out as well. He's going to get demeked by the pulse bomb. The card is only a few short moments away. Can Shanghai even touch this one? Can they even contest? Someone is on the cart. The Gravitic Flux is going to be missing Fleder, but Fleder goes down regardless of that. And Prophet with the 2K on the Tracer. Able to find these pickoffs nicely. Seoul in a very solid position to try and work this one in, but now Lee Jae-gong has built up the rally, so I don't want to call it curtains just yet. Fearless overextending just to a degree means that he will not be able to win this fight out, and it looks like Seoul Dynasty have decided to just actually recontest, and now they're going to regroup and re-push this one. Molten Core going to be laying down the foundations. No one can really touch this card. Lee Jae-gong falling. The burning, the DPS, the damage, a little bit too much, and Seoul Dynasty are going to get that capture with 26 seconds remaining.
A very good offense, honestly, from the Seoul Dynasty, and Prophet was never checked at any point throughout that map. The dive looked alright from Shanghai as we started out, but they just never won a team fight throughout throughout point B, and then really in point C as well. Shanghai's defense, not that great. And if you cast your mind back, earlier on in the day, we saw the Seoul Dynasty play on Junkertown. They lost to the Guangzhou Charge. What did the Charge do so well? They played May Reaper on the defense. They played aggressively. They held them at point B. So the fact now that the Seoul Dynasty have just been able to have their way on the offense, I think this is a perfect position for the Tiger Nation. The Seoul Dynasty are going to be feeling really good about their attack time there. Just completing Junkertown itself is a success. And they look like they're rolling out with a Widowmaker defense. A little bit more meta here for Seoul Dynasty.
Not just the Widowmaker though, Josh. They've also got Prophet once again on the Tracer. And Tracer's not a hero that we see often. It's not a character that we see often on Junkertown. I think this first point is actually a little bit too wide to try and get value out of a Tracer. You know, despite the fact that she can clear immense distances with her blinks, sometimes it's just not quite enough given how big this map is. Now, still, with that being said, Prophet does make Tracer look like a meta pick.
He definitely does. He's so individually skilled on it. He was one of the major reasons that Seoul went up 3-0 in this series to begin with as well. A huge player of the match candidate if Seoul Dynasty are actually able to win this final map. But the Fitz versus Lip Widowmaker duel. Both of these guys have proven themselves to be really excellent Widowmakers in previous matches. And now we get to see the head-to-head. They're not as well known, perhaps, as some of the other players on their teams. Everyone knows the Fleder Widowmaker. Everyone knows DM. But Fitz and Lip are the players who have the trust of their teams, the trust of their coaches, to pick up this hero when it comes to Junkertown, the classic Widowmaker map.
And look at how patient both of these Widowmaker players are.
Hello.
Okay, well, see you later there. All right, Fleder gets sent forward. He had to actually instantly exit out of his ice block because he was worried he was going to get caught out of position. He disjointed the momentum from Holt there, if you're wondering how he got sent so far forward. But now it's the battle of the Widowmakers. And what we've seen of Junkertown is actually a lot of these Widowmakers avoid the fight up front. They want to try and set up their teams for success by playing odd angles, funny positionings. And Prophet going down to Fleder. It's a good start for the attacking Shanghai Dragons. But look at Fitz again. This is what I'm talking about. What? The off-angled Fitz. Are you kidding me? The 3K, Izayaki, he had to shut him down. And Josh, I just screamed so much that the blood has rushed from my head and I almost fainted.
That's ridiculous. We normally see the defensive Widowmaker not take any angles, take 0 risks, and instead Fitz rips up the playbook. He goes for a flank and he hits every shot, man. How is he able to do this? That should not work. You should be able to get 1 out of 3 of those kills.
I can't believe what we just witnessed. That was Shanghai Dragons. Oh, Fitz, are you... Okay, all right, calm it down. Calm it down.
That's
Fitz.
Unbelievable. Oh, he's killed another one.
Fitz is unstoppable.
This is outrageous.
Look at him, he's on the flank. Dude, he's feeling himself. This is what Widowmakers do. There's a feeling when you get into the zone. Basketball players describe it. Sports players describe it. It happens in video games as well. I think this is what we're witnessing right now is Fitz. He's in the flow state. The only thing on his mind is hitting heads, and it's working for them. This is just one of the most absurd performances I've seen, one of the most absurd series I've seen. And when Fitz is playing like this, Lip, I just feel sorry for him because it's like trying to shut down a monster.
Yeah, it's an absolute monstrous performance from Fitz, and he's managed to win these fights single-handedly. So Seoul have never used an ult. There's only 1 minute and 20 seconds left.
Ridiculous. Seoul are so close now. Ever so close to shutting down this reverse sweep. Fitz shooting these targets like they're nothing. And
he makes it look so easy.
It's so hard for them right now. A minute on the clock. That's all Shanghai have got to work with. A Blizzard, a Gravitic Flux, a Transcendence, maybe the wall hacks, but look on the other side of Seoul. They're almost matching them ultimate for ultimate, but finally, an opening pickoff. Lip gets the better end of Fitz, and that is going to mean Timberside time. Hunting for an opportunity to hit a head or two. You can see the ultimate starting to come out now as Fleder uses the Blizzard. It's going to force the Transcendence out of Gravitic Flux. Great timing from that one, Shanghai Dragons. It's an overwhelming team fight win. They use their ultimates in a great order. And Fitz, he's the last one left, but realistically, there's not much he's going to be able to do here.
What a hero play from Lip. He only needs to find 1 kill. And yeah, for all of the fancy work that Fitz did in those opening 4 minutes, it only takes 1 mistake, and Lip finds him, hits the head, and opens up his team for a point A capture. The Shanghai Dragons, they must have been sweating there, but rookie player Lip comes up with the goods when it matters. Don't ever sub him out again.
Fantastic. We've really got to highlight again, Lip is a rookie player, a candidate for Rookie of the Year. Fitz has noticed that his Venom Mine was triggered there by Lip. Lip's still there, still present, falling very, very low. Okay, just got out on 1 HP. Okay. But now an opportunity for Fleder to flex what he can do on the Tracer. We've seen what Prophet's been doing this entire series long. Fleder's time to go in, goes for the 1 clip, but recalls back. Now the pulse bomb from Prophet, he connects it onto Fearless. Fearless will fall, no more main tank. Dangerous scenario for Shanghai to keep pushing this one in, but they do have 2 minutes, so they can regroup and rethink how they want to try and take this one. Fitz though. Okay, alright.
How does that happen? I mean, who knows, but it seemed like he was caught by the Venom Mine and trying to duel him. Lip is really not gaining much ult charge. He might have 1 EMP by the time this time ticks away. And Fleder hasn't done a great job of being able to check Prophet either. Trying to skulk around the corners instead to set up some kind of dive, but it hasn't really been going so well so far for the Shanghai Dragons since they swapped over. Looking to take out Fitz very early on. This will be huge. And Lip again finds the kill. Opening pick on the Widowmaker.
It's a beautiful opening pick because now no one has to worry about these sightlines. They can play full-on aggression, and it was a wonderful coordinated play by Shanghai. They capitalize off of it straight away. Lip was able to force out the positioning from Fitz. He takes him out almost instantly. And Fearless says, okay, that's my time to dive. And they dive onto the front line, remove them almost immediately. And that's going to cause Seoul to make some changes. They have an opportunity to recontest this now. Shanghai with 50 seconds remaining, they want to close out this point.
Yeah, the changes, as you said, Fitz moving over to the Torbjorn, so much more bulky. But Shanghai
Profit
Dragons,
dies!
they're getting close to their ults, and a great first pick on Profit. Yes, the Bedosian Transcendence is there, but Gesture got purpled in the middle of it all. A fantastic biotic grenade coming out from Izayaki, but this is still turnable for the Soul Dynasty.
Still turnable, and that's going to force out Primal Rage from Fearless. He's got to come up big with this. He's got to come up clutch. He's battering them away. 2 kills for him, forcing the positioning. Can he find a third? It's absolute magic. And Shanghai Dragons are going to be able to cap up this checkpoint B. 1 minute 40 seconds. Fleder, he's coming alive right now, and we are looking at this Tracer 1v1 occurring as well. It's not just a battle of the Widowmakers on Junkertown, it's a battle of the Tracers as well. Could not think of a better stage to see the finale being played out.
Let's take a look at this replay as well. Just Fearless with his Primal Rage was able to turn this fight so well. There was an Immortality field in the middle of this, but he just gets into the back. Great technique. This is the guy that came in and has led this reverse sweep charge for the Shanghai Dragons. And he's deep in the middle of the next fight as well, taking out Profit for an opening pick.
Oh my goodness, Flood, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Pulse Bomb takes out not only Gesture, but also the Supercharger. Maximum value. And now, a minute remaining, they're moving forward. Shanghai Dragons are trying to set a similar time to Soul Dynasty. I cannot believe how much this series is going to the distance right now.
Rally.
You're getting into potentially final fight territory for the Shanghai Dragons. They've got to try and make this work
here,
now.
Brian. Rally in EMP. This is super winnable for Shanghai.
Force Bomb gets 8 up now as well. The EMP comes out to self-destruct as well, laid down. It's going to remove a lot of the turrets, a little bit of the extra factors, the variables in this fight. Now the Molten Core laid down. No one can really touch the point here. Fearless will fall. Void now has to force the positioning back. Only 20 seconds remaining. This is a team fight loss, and I think they realize it, but Shanghai, did they even have the opportunity to recontest this, Josh? Could we see the series end here?
No, there's absolutely no way, Brennan. Lip is in a position where he's got to be able to touch the payload. Fleder as well if he really needed to. They've got a nano boost and they have this Primal Rage. They've got to dodge the flux from Marvel, but it is still technically winnable for Shanghai.
Lip moves in. He's going to trigger the overtime, and now Fearless moves in with the nano boost. Primal Rage used. He has to go sicko mode. He has to go clutch. And Shanghai Dragons, they might just be doing it. Fearless, he's doing it. He's creating the space for his team. Lip and Fleder are turning up when it matters most. They get the opening picks, and what a turnaround. Coordination out the wazoo. The Shanghai Dragons are going to get the overtime push, and that means that they are having a blast. They have a lifeline. They have the ability to still compete in the grand finals here today.
Shanghai Dragons are so clutch to be able to come back into that with and immediately find kills. I think that was Fleder and Lip just beasted their opposition. Profit and Fitz seemed to fall so fast. And the Shanghai Dragons took that one with ease. That should have been an incredibly tense situation. I had chills down my spine. And Shanghai, cool as ice. They come in, they get the picks, they get the job done. They put another minute on the clock for them. Like you said, lifeline, hope. It's 3-3. Final map. 1 minute for the Shanghai Dragons, 1 minute 26 for Seoul. Honestly, those 26 seconds, they mean diddly squat. They don't mean a thing.
Now
it comes down to how effective you can be with the first fight, the momentum you can gain, and how you can push it forwards. And Seoul are going for a forward hold. They're going to try and spawn camp with the May Reaper. I think this is a good. I think this is good. It's either going to be amazing or it's going to fall flat on its face. It's only one or the other. It's a bold move.
Now, if I'm remembering correctly, it was the Guangzhou Charge who did this to Seoul earlier today. It worked out well. We'll see now, though. You can see Seoul just waiting patiently in the corner. They're going to burst out here with the speed boost. And Shanghai, they've been caught with their trousers down. Lee Jae-gon goes down immediately to freeze up onto Void as a D-mech. Big Bionade from Izayaki, but the damage is done. And that is brutal. You might not think these seconds really matter, but when you only have a minute, that is a team fight removed straight away.
Yeah, one team fight down, but the Shanghai Dragons are in their spawn and they have opportunities to... What on earth was that from Fleder? He was just hoping that he would be able to get out behind them and get a flank angle to be able to set up a dive for the future. But he can't. He gets abused, and Lip's Translocator is forced as well. This setup does not go well for the Shanghai Dragons here.
It's not indeed. I've almost want them to switch over to a mirror comp just to match them in the mirror, but Lip now forced backwards as well, but they get the opening pick onto Fitz. That's a big one. They need to contest this a little bit more. They have to play further forward here. The sticky bombs take down Marvel. We're getting into the overtime territory once more. Shanghai Dragons, they seem to have got this one in the bag. Question is at what cost, because they have only just begun to get this cart moving.
But the overtime spawns are very slow. You can see how slowly Toby is getting back into this. It almost seems like forever until he
finally
respawns.
respawned.
Solar getting close to ultimates, but Lip's going to have an EMP as well. If they can use this EMP or this Nano Boost aggressively and wipe the Soul Dynasty again, this is going to be a huge push.
Has to be picture perfect. Fearless has the Primal Rage, going to be utilizing it. To see if he can disjoint the Soul Dynasty. Now you can see them battering people away. The EMP from Lip comes out. Huge amounts of damage, but they need to keep touching this card. You can see Fearless is just chucking his body at it. He does not want to get pushed away from the overtime. They do not want to C9 again, and they will not have that worry as the card slowly moves towards that point A objective. Shanghai Dragons, they played that one well. They played it aggressively. They knew what ultimates to use.
They're unlikely to win the next fight, Brent, but it's already been a fantastic push considering they only had 1 minute on the clock. But the Shanghai Dragons want to push it as far as they possibly can forwards. Soul Dynasty are going to have double support on and the barrier. Fleder's got to go huge here. It's got to be something ridiculous.
Well, here we have it. The Supercharger used early on. Soul are taking this rough angle right round the corner. Sound barrier also going to be utilized, but have they realistically got anything? Fleder now using the duplicate over onto the Sigma. Pretty much earlier into this fight, the Gravitic Flux is going to send a couple of them up. Counter Gravitic Flux is going to be used here by Shanghai, sends them up, but the duplicate faded, so Fleder does not get it off to completion. But it looks like Shanghai Dragons might be winning this fight off. Fearless jumping into the background, takes out Marvel, and now it looks like they are pushing this one further forward. Shanghai with an almost impossible team fight win, despite the fact that they didn't have the ult advantage, despite the fact that they were in subpar positioning. They had to stay close to the cart, they had to stay glued to it. They win the team fight.
Oh, this is terrible now for the Soul Dynasty. They can see their championship slipping away from them. The victory, the crown of the May Melee tournament is slipping away from them piece by piece. Shanghai have so many ults. They're almost destined to win this team fight.
EMP utilized now. Lip gonna be layering it down onto all of them. Fleder from on high. The focusing beam evaporates Prophet, takes him out of the fight. Shanghai Dragons, as you said, Josh, they are destined to win the team fight, and they're going to do just that. And this is looking like an impossible run of things. Think about how much time this overtime happened at their spawn door. At the spawn door for Shanghai.
The overtime spawns are just so long for the Soul Dynasty, they can't get the regular fights that they would like. They're running a Lucio Rush comp, they want to be contesting repeatedly, but the overtime spawns are so painfully slow. They still have a rally and double support ult here, the Shanghai Dragons. This next fight, still winnable, despite the fact that Prophet has Blizzard. Soul must win here.
The pin from Marble! The pin from Marble onto Lip from downtown, it takes him out! And that is such a high-risk play, but it may have just paid dividends. The overtime burning for them, but Prophet's Blizzard locks them up. The Supercharger as well provides the damage boost necessary. It overlaps onto everything that Soul are chucking at them. And the Shanghai Dragons, with only a couple of players remaining, they will not hold for much longer. Fearless with the shield up. Not for much longer, though. Overtime finally going to be stopped in their tracks. And the Shanghai Dragons, despite the fact that they got 5 points there, I feel like they could have got a little bit more if it wasn't for Marvel's hero play there in the tail end of that fight.
True, I think it was a great play by Marvel, but there is no way that the Shanghai Dragons are upset with what they just accomplished. That's a monumental task on Junkertown, and what an amazing push for them. They had 1 minute on the clock, a single minute, and they lost the first team fight as well. Soul Dynasty spawn camped them to begin with, and then from there, they reset and they demolished. They set up their ults perfectly, they cycled them brilliantly, they had plays when it mattered, and that is an amazing overtime push for the Shanghai Dragons. They have set themselves up for success. In order for the Soul Dynasty to deny the reverse sweep here, it will take a miracle.
Yeah. What was looking like a scenario where Shanghai Dragons would have had to run a similar comp to Soul and try and go for a forward hold is now completely open to Shanghai Dragons' interpretation. They can run whatever composition they want. This is their comfort comp now. They realize that all they have to do is realistically win maybe 2 team fights And that's it. They win the series.
Honestly, only one. They only have to delay and build ultimates until it gets into overtime somewhere in point B, and they could win one fight. If they want to play it very conservatively, they could just bank on that.
That might be the best play as well with the overtime spawners, but obviously not in effect just yet.
So much pressure on the Seoul Dynasty here to go up 3 maps in this series and have it slip away from them in overtime in this manner. Imagine. It would be unthinkable. Profit and Fitz just gathering their energy to try and tug this one back from the brink.
If Seoul are able to do this, they have the mental fortitude like I've never seen before from any team, but Shanghai, they're going for it. They do not want to be stopped. They do not want to be held here. Trying to go for this push attack now, trying to put the pressure into Profit on the Reaper now. Void almost demeched, falling very low, has to rotate round the corner, moves out of the way to focusing beams. So much damage to Immortality Field in the nick of time. Toby is saved, but at what cost now? Marvel battered back. He is so low, and the sticky bomb takes him down. The opening pick that might have just sealed it for them, the EMP from Lip. It connects onto 3 targets, Shanghai Dragons. They found so many pickups off the back of it. The rally now going to be utilized to try and keep his team alive. Still winnable for Seoul here. Molten Core going to be laid down just to try and keep the players away, but Fearless is battering them back. The Primal Rage causing all sorts of disruption. Now, Seoul Dynasty forced over to those high mobility heroes. They need to try and contest this one. Fleder moving over to the Tourbillon, but he was not able to get his ultimate off in time. The blade, or not the blade, I should say the beam, it burns them down. It burns them down indeed, Josh. The overtime, is it not enough? It is not enough whatsoever. The Shanghai Dragons have done it. I cannot believe what we have witnessed. The reverse sweep.
That's incredible, unbelievable scenes. And the Shanghai Dragons are on their feet. They can't believe what they've just accomplished. They should be so proud. The mental fortitude to keep themselves in that match is just absurd. Yeah. And Fearless leads a reverse sweep like I have never seen before in my life.
I am absolutely speechless, and I feel like the majority of the players that we're seeing here are also absolutely speechless. We've been stressing it the entire series long because of the absurdity, the absolute ridiculous nature that could happen if Shanghai even got the reverse sweep. And here we are, we're sitting here. They are the champions of the Asia May Melee. The Shanghai Dragons are going to be walking away with, I believe, 40 grand, 3 wins under their belts.
Huge.
It's such a ridiculous series of events that have just transpired in front of us.
What a tournament, and what a final. What an amazing way to crown the Shanghai Dragons as the #1 Asian team. Seoul Dynasty made them fight for it. My God, did they make them fight for it. They made them sweat blood for every inch, but they couldn't deny the reverse sweep. And what a weight that must be on the Seoul Dynasty players to come so close with inconsistent results all over the place, to look like you were inches away from proving yourselves as a top team finally, and fall short at the final hurdle. My God, what a series.
What a series. And our player of the match, presented by Xfinity, is the one, the only. It's Fearless. He came in when his team needed it most. He was subbed out for the beginning. We couldn't really figure out the reasoning why, but he brought it back. He played perfectly. His Primal Rages were fantastic across the board. He was setting his team up for plays like we'd never even seen, but he was doing it on multiple different heroes. Fearless is our player of the match. I cannot think of a more deserving player on the Shanghai side.
Yeah, incredible stuff from him. To remind people of his story once again, this guy was brought into the Overwatch League from Element Mystic, a Korean contenders team that a lot of you might be familiar of, a place that previously housed Sparkle, Repel, and Jexa, all of these amazing talents. He was brought in to try and revitalize the Shanghai Dragons franchise when they were halfway through this Norton 40 run in the 2018. He failed. The whole of the Korean roster that they brought in failed. They continued to lose every single match that year. And he was then subbed down to play in Chinese contenders. Returns to the league after a year of playing in Chinese contenders. and is now crowned the